Hey, what's up guys, it's Aisling. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a foundation first impressions today. I picked up a new foundation on the Beauty Bay website and I had never seen it before. I hadn't even seen a review of it. I've heard nobody talk about this. I have no idea what this foundation's even like. So I decided that what a perfect foundation to do a wear test on today. The foundation in question is the Maybelline Superstay Active Wear. This is a 30-hour foundation. And when I saw this on the Beauty Bay website, I was kind of like, that's interesting. And I wanted to give it a try. It is supposed to be designed to be worn for 30 hours or during strenuous exercise. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to test both those theories today, but I am going to try and test for 12 hours and see how my skin gets on with it. I'm going to read what the Beauty Bay website says about this foundation first, and then we're going to get into the review. So this said it's a long-lasting liquid foundation. The perfect foundation does exist. It's a super active wear, full coverage, 30-hour long-lasting liquid finish, leaves lightweight and breathable coverage that's transfer, water and sweat resistant. The high pigment oil-free formula has a matte, natural looking finish that sits comfortably and weightlessly on the skin for up to 30 hours. And this says it's for all skin types. Now, when I was looking this up, I was making sure that it wasn't the same as the Superstay 24-hour full coverage, that these were actually two different formulas, and they are two different formulas. They haven't reformulated this, so they are two different foundations. The other kind of comment I have on this is there's 20 shades. The shade selection is deplorable. Like, I want to say that this is probably the worst shade selection I've ever come across from Maybelline ever. They're usually pretty good with a range of shades. However, this is like one of the 6 darkest foundations, and this is going to be way too pale for me today. It's described as a warm nude shade, which would be perfect for my skin, like should be perfect for my skin, but it is a little bit on the paler side for me, especially coming into summer months. So our dark shades are Mocha, Cocoa and Caramel. I was gonna go with Golden or Warm Sun, and then I looked at the Beauty Bay website and they looked extremely dark. So I went with Warm Nude, but Warm Sun probably would be a better match for me, especially when I'm wearing tan. I'm just really kind of disappointed in the shade selection, but you definitely have much better choice if you are paler skin tone, because there's a little bit more of a selection for your skin color and the undertone. If you have darker skin, forget about this foundation. And even if you're kind of like myself or a little bit deeper, you're gonna struggle to find a color. I mean, Sun Beige was, I think, 2 shades up from this, and it probably would have been the better option for me today, but I'm just going to play around with this. So enough about the shades. I am disappointed. I'm probably going to have to use a darkening drop. I'm going to use one that doesn't change the formula so I can properly test it. This is the Catrice Prime and Fine darkening drop. It's my favorite. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is the other shades from the Maybelline Superstay have a much better shade range. I am going to do my normal routine with what I do with foundations. Prime one half, leave the other half unprimed, use a sponge and a brush just to see how we get on, which is the better tool. So if you're interested in seeing how this active wear foundation looks on my skin and a wear test of it, then stay tuned and keep on watching. The only thing on my skin right now apart from moisturizer is just my brows and a little bit of concealer filled in around them, just in case you are wondering. And I'm going to take my Hydrating and Radiance primer. I love this primer, it's just so nice. And this was described as a matte foundation, which is great, especially if you're going to the gym or working out or going for a run. But I still like that little bit of glow to my skin, like just to make my skin look a bit fresher. So I will apply this. This is not for prolonging the wear of it by any means. I don't generally find in my experience that primers prolong the wear of my foundation, but I just want to see what it looks like with the primer and without a primer. On this side of my face I'm going to use a brush, and on the other side I'm just going to take my beauty blender. So I'm going to just pump a few squirts of this onto the back of my hand. The packaging is identical to the original Superstay, like in every way, shape and form. It's the same lid, it looks the same, it's in the exact same bottle as well. You get 30 mils in both of these, so it's pretty standard. So that's just what the colour looks like. You can see that it probably does match my skin. However, I like to have just a little bit of a darker foundation for summer months. That's just my preference. So I'm just going to darken it up a little bit with a darkening drop. And I'm a little bit happier with that shade just after adding the darkening drop. So I'm just going to take my brush and just apply that to this side of my face and get my mirror because I can't see anything. Okay, so the shade is still a bit pale even after adding that darkening drop to it. but we're just gonna go with it for the day. And I also have no idea if this oxidizes, so I probably should have tested that out first before I put a darkening drop in it, just in case. This is relatively full coverage in comparison to the Superstay. It's a bit lighter. I just mean that it's a little bit more of a watery consistency. It's not as thick on the skin. I find the Superstay to be almost like Huda Beauty Full Filter kind of vibes. Brush is applying it really well, and I actually like the look of it straight off the bat. I always like to put just a bit over my lips so you can kind of see the coverage that you get from it, but I think it looks pretty decent. Like, that coverage is pretty insane. I tried a tinted moisturizer yesterday. You'll see that video coming up soon if it's not up already. It was so light in comparison. This is like ridiculously full coverage. And actually the shade, once added in the darkening drop, is not too bad. I actually don't think it looks that bad at all. This foundation has no fragrance as well, just if you were wondering. But I do like the effect of the brush on my skin. I just feel like it's given me a nice even application, and I feel like it looks great so far. I'm just going to take my beauty sponge now with some of the product on the other side. First thing I'm noticing is it's not eating up the product, which tends to be an issue I often have with a beauty sponge, because I think this foundation is of a little bit of a thicker consistency. That's why the sponge is not eating the product. And I definitely think from looking at this foundation over my pores, the sponge side has kind of like airbrushed it over my pores, whereas the brush side has made it just kind of sit on top of my pores a little bit. I'll show you that more when I do an up close. So it's just after 11 o'clock and I'm going to try and wear this for up to 12 hours just to see how we do get on. I actually feel like it looks really good on my skin. A lot thicker of a consistency of a foundation. Not quite as thick as the Superstay, but we're kind of on the same lines, and not quite as thick as like Huda Beauty Full Filter. But it is definitely on the thicker side when it comes to foundations. I don't know if this is something that I would personally like to be working out in, but if you have skin concerns in regards to like acne or any redness on the skin or rosacea or anything like that, it will cover it up, because it has covered up any sort of spots that I kind of had in this area, and it definitely looks more full coverage on my skin than when I started. But like I said, everybody has their own personal preference. I prefer not to wear something like this working out, especially going for a run or if I'm sweating in any way, because I just feel like this would be a recipe for disaster for clogging up my pores. I'm going to splash some water on my face towards the end of the day just to see how it does hold up with like being waterproof sort of thing, but I'm not going to do that right now because I have a couple of other videos to film and I just want to test the actual wear of it on my skin. I don't know if you can see the pores on this side versus this side. It might be hard to see just with the lighting and just the camera settings at the moment, but it is a little bit more evident to me. It is quite full coverage, as you can see. Like, there is not a blemish, not a spot, not anything on my skin. It's covered everything, which is great if you're looking for a fuller coverage foundation. And you can see from just applying the brush on this side versus the sponge on this side, and I did it over my lips as well, the brush gives you a lot more coverage. I'm going to go and finish the rest of my makeup and I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so I'm just back after finishing the rest of my makeup, so I thought I would give you a little kind of breakdown of how the products all went on top of this foundation, because I am loving the look of this foundation. I really am. I don't want to talk too prematurely, but this foundation is actually one of my favorites that I've tried in a while. It's so pretty on my skin. It's really airbrushed. It's very full coverage, but without being cakey. And I just think everything sat on top of it super well. I tried a new concealer today and I did cream contour with it. So if you do see some blotchiness on my face, please ignore that. It's just that my blending skills today are just not what they used to be. So apologies for the blotchiness. Obviously the foundation is what we're interested to see. I have this foundation on 2 hours now, so I'm not really going to call this like my first check-in. It's just after applying all the products, but I really love how it looks. It's not too heavy, it's not too cakey. It looks so nice. It looks really airbrushed. I do feel like the shade is a great match now that I added in the darkening drops. It just sucks that I have to kind of bring them everywhere I use this foundation, but hey ho, it is such a gorgeous finish. It feels so soft on the skin. My skin looks literally airbrushed, so soft. This is the nicest that my skin has looked in ages with a foundation. I am well aware it's only been 2 hours since I've applied it, but you know what I'm saying. I really like it. I like the formula. I like how it looks. We are going to give it a bit more time to see how we do get on later on with this foundation. Somebody is texting me. Just going to give you the quickest up close of life right now, just so you can see, mind the blotchiness, but isn't it looking so good on my skin? Like, so good. I love it. So I'm going to go about my day. I'll talk to you guys in a little while and we'll see what it's looking like then. So just come back from my first update of the day. It is currently 2 p.m. The foundation has been on for over 4 hours. I actually cannot believe how gorgeous this foundation looks on my skin today. I am just so shook. Like, I cannot express how amazing this foundation looks. This is super seamless on my skin. It's really gorgeous, matte. It looks so sensational and it's incredibly smooth. Everything on my face looks great, bar the bad contouring that I did earlier, which we're ignoring. But everything just looks so good. I am low-key obsessed. I have a teeny bit of oiliness going on in my chin area, which is not like a major concern right now because it's only 4 hours on. The only observation I can make from looking at this foundation is just, if you have drier skin, you may not like it because it is quite a drying, mattifying foundation. So it's like, it's really set on my skin. I do, like I said, feel a little bit of the oils coming through here, just here, and actually nothing in between my brows just yet, but it is quite matte. I do feel like if you have a lot of dryness on the skin, you won't like this because it would be almost like taut on the skin because it's that matte, which suits me great because when I start getting really, really oily throughout the day, this is exactly what I'm looking for to keep my oils at bay. I don't think there's been any oxidation with it or change throughout the day. Right now, I am just overjoyed at the way this foundation looks. It's been 8 hours, guys. It is 6:22, which actually is over 8 hours. It's 8 hours and 20 minutes to be exact. Really could not wait to do this update. Why couldn't I wait? Because look at this foundation, guys. I am actually so shook. I've had 8 hours worth of oils going onto my face. You can see that in between my brows and on my chin and around here, there is an awful lot of oiliness. I can see that myself in the mirror as far away as I am from it. But in general, this foundation just looks so intact, so beautiful, and so smooth on my face. So happy with the look of this. Don't really feel like it's cakey. I don't feel like it's too heavy looking on my skin. Obviously, now that I've been, you know, going around for 8 hours with it on my face, and I do have a little bit of oils going on my face, it is going to look a little less fresh than it did this morning, but I still think it looks unbelievable. Like, I am very, very impressed with how uniform and how great this looks. There's no wearing off. There's no fading. Nothing has moved on my face. I feel like the only other foundation that I ever have a reaction like that with is Estee Lauder Double Wear, where at the end of the day it looks like the way it did at the beginning of the day. I'm not comparing this to Estee Lauder, but I'm just getting the same kind of like happy out vibes that when I look in the mirror at this hour of the day, it's still intact. Like, it's just kind of crazy to me. It has been a hot minute since I wore the Superstay Original, the 24-hour one. However, I know that I did not have the same reaction with this foundation anytime I've worn it as I am having with this one, because I have worn that one for years. So I know how I feel about that foundation. I just wish the shade selection was not so crappy. Like, 19 shades? Come on, Maybelline, you can do better. Please, please do better. I do know for certain at this present moment filming this that it's not available in the US just yet. Hopefully when it comes out to the US they'll branch out the shades. I don't know why they wouldn't do that first, but anyway. There's such a bad glare coming off my ring light. I don't know what the story is. I just kind of covered it up. Yeah, that's a bit better. I think that the foundation just looks so intact and I'm just really happy with it. I can't really make any more comments than how happy I am with this foundation. So we're at the final update of the night, guys. It's actually 11:30 right now. It was actually 20 to 12. As you can see from the smile on my face, I am pretty dang happy with the way this foundation looks. I think this is probably my new holy grail foundation. Just putting that out into the world. I am super happy with the way that this looks on my skin. I love everything about this foundation. Like, I cannot stress how obsessed I am with this foundation. I don't have too much more to say from the last update. The only thing I do note is the oiliness on my skin, and it has just started to sink in around my mouth and just into my little fine line in between my brow. There's a little bit of wearing away on the chin area, but all in all, I'm more than content with the way this foundation looks. Like a tiny little bit of oil, a tiny little bit of seeping into fine lines. I have no issue, really, honestly, no issues at all. If I didn't mention this earlier on in the video, which I'm mentioning now late in the day, I think I ended up paying like 11 something for it because I did get like a discount code for Beauty Bay. But wherever you see this, pick it up. Go for it, guys. You will not regret it. I have so many pros of it. Long lasting, full coverage, keeps my oils at bay. I haven't touched it up, patted it, not put a bit of powder on since this morning, nothing. And it's still looking this good. Obviously, not everybody is going to love this formula. If you have drier skin, you may not like this formula, but I would still say if you have dry skin to give it a go and see what you think of it. If you have oily skin, you will love this formula. And if you're somebody who likes to wear a bit of coverage to the gym or out exercising, or whenever nightclubs ever open again, then you know the way you get a bit like hot and sweaty when you're dancing, something like this will be perfect. I think this would be really great in warm temperatures. I don't feel it heavy on my skin. I don't feel like my skin can't breathe or anything like that. Obviously, I do feel like I am wearing a foundation. That's okay. I don't like feel like it's heavy, if that makes any sense. That foundation is just so amazing. I cannot stress how much I love it. I love everything about it, and I am so happy with the way that it looks on my skin. I'll do my last up close as well for you guys. I'm sorry about the lighting if it's just too severe, but it kind of emphasizes the oils on my skin. You can kind of see them there. I don't know if you can see that little fine line there where it's just kind of sunk in, and there's a tiny amount of seepage around my mouth, but nothing too extreme. Okay, so I just splashed some water on my face and kind of like rubbed my face, and yeah, that foundation is still looking fab. Like even after rubbing my face, it's still intact. I definitely think if you went out and you sweated buckets, like I mean nobody's gonna sweat this much. I mean there's so much water on my face right now. But I think if you did go out and you were sweating tons, you would have a good chance that this would hold up. I have nothing more to say on it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's review. If you did, please thumbs up the video. Let me know if there's any other foundations you would like me to check out or try. I will have more content for you coming up this week. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!